Welcome back to Hermitting with Holly and Susan. We still have Holly out in her cottage. And Holly, will you stay out there when it gets really wintry? When we get we're in October right now, but when it gets more December,
I'm
November?
hoping to this year. I just got my exciting news is there's now officially heat in my studio. We put in a split unit. So it means I also have air conditioning, which I can't see using very much, but I do have the heat so that none of my glazes and clays freeze. So I'm hoping this winter, more so than other years, that we're out here more in the winter. Himself I got a new studio, he got a new tractor.
Oh.
And so with,
Boys'
I know,
toys.
so that means, well, it'll be much easier to plow out the driveway.
Right.
So that you can pull off and pull in. So yeah, we're hoping to be out here more.
Okay.
That's my goal. A couple of years, we're planning the addition. So in a couple of years, I should have a bathroom inside, and we're adding a bathroom and a bedroom. What? So
that'll help.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah. All right. So today's question is, what other authors are you friends with, and how did they help you become a better writer?
Well, I will never be able to mention all my friends in one video. So that being said, so I'm going with a couple people who early on really helped and inspired me. Back in the day, before Facebook, yes, there was a day like that. I belonged to an America Online group. I forget. I think they just called them groups. I stumbled across it. It was all romance writers. And I met two women who were super important to me in the beginning, simply because they were so supportive. Joanne Ross, who she's just one of the most amazing writers, but besides that, an amazing woman, and was right from the beginning just so kind, so helpful. And the other one is Cheryl St. John's. She does a lot of historical, so she writes, and she does do some contemporary, but our writing styles are very different, and yet equally just supportive and wonderful and kind. And I mean, that initial group was fantastic. Another writer on the group was John Legg, and he was a really well-known Western writer. And so I am not someone who reads Westerns very often, but I picked up a new release at one point. It's still upstairs. I can't tell you the title, but there was a woman in it, the love interest for the hero, who had never owned a new dress. So she got this new blue dress. It was a blue dress. I remember this. And I think they were getting married or just got married, and she had her new blue dress on, and she got shot by the bad guy. And I was so annoyed. I'm like, John, what on earth? And actually we called him Jack, but what on earth? You killed her in her new blue dress. She can't even be buried in it because it's all bloody now.
You put a hole in it and blood.
And so he's like, no, that's how it works in Westerns. I'm like, no, I'm going to stick with romance. But they were so wonderful. And just to have somebody so much farther in their careers than I was, because I was just such a novice. And just Janet Biber, who wrote a lot of Highland books, like historical Scottish books. And she was also on that group. So that group itself, I'm going to give shout outs to. And after I sold the duets, I belonged to a duets writers groups. And these ladies have been phenomenal. And of course, I can't leave Susan off the list. There are many other friends that write, but those are like groups of people who have just made an impact on my writing career. So how about you?
Well, I think same kind of thing. A group early on for me was Cat of Romance. And it was an email group. Remember back in the old
Oh,
days, and they were email groups, and so people. I mean, you would reply to email and everything, and so that was a really wonderful. Holly, you because I mean, I met you very early on, and you had just sold when we met, and so you've always been very good throughout all these years. You have made me a better writer by just kicking my butt when needed, and just keep me, keep
and
moving.
God gave me big feet,
See, and
and
you know how to use them.
I feel like I should use them and in honoring Him on a regular basis. So
There
kicking
you
your butt
go.
has been a pleasure.
And at that first conference I went to, I met two super romance authors, Roz Denny Fox and Ken Casper, who back in the day he wrote as K.N. Casper for super romance because God forbid a man should write romance novels. And I remember meeting them, and they were just so warm and genuine and welcoming, and they, like many writers at a lot of writing conferences that I've been to, the old school writers are just very helpful and very down to earth and everything else. And then I absolutely have to give a shout out to Jen August, she was my very first critique partner, and Diana Duncan, who also a critique partner of mine. And I don't think I could have written the books that I've written without them. They were always there and reading and critiquing and encouraging and pushing and saying,
I noticed you say they encourage and I kick butt. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, two very different skill sets, but both necessary. Both necessary. So there's that. So yeah, and again, there's just been a lot of folks that have been encouraging and whatnot.
Well,
Carolyn Green, okay,
oh my God,
Carolyn
I love
Green.
Carolyn. Yeah.
She taught the first class I took in writing, and she was awesome because she was extremely encouraging, and she was like, she saw something in me right out the gate and helped nurture that.
Well, I will say this, that I feel very fortunate to belong to this group of
Yep.
writers, because I mean, there's always a couple clunkers in any group, but predominantly
Yep.
the women I've met, no matter how much above me they are in their careers, have been nothing but kind and gracious, and I feel so honored to consider so many of them friends.
Exactly. Right. Yep.
And
There's so many
it,
of them that, we could be sitting here all day doing a who's
just
who of
name
romance
dropping, yeah.
writers.
And so, yeah, no, I consider belonging to this club one of the joys in my life, because truly there are just so many, and I really feel that there's a lot of them that if you called them and said, hey, I need this, that, or the other, who would really go to town trying to assist. So I
I
feel
think
lucky.
it was Carolyn as well, who when I got my first contract with Harlequin said, call me. And we talked about,
Nice.
what a contract, because I didn't have an agent. And so, you want to kind of know what are you signing? So
Right.
very helpful. So yeah, it is. It's
So
an honor to be
what we're
in this
saying
group.
is pick up books by any of us.
Exactly.
And
There's a
they're
lot
just
of good
wonderful
stuff.
women. They are. I really feel like they're fantastic. And my shelves are filled with friends books, and pick some up.
There you go. All right.
Uh,
We will see you next time.
Bye.